So on that note, I would like to invite our next speaker. He's a very prolific speaker, Mr. Sagar. So he is the CEO of Ocean Synergy, and he has a multitude of other companies that he runs as well. And he's a motivational speaker, and he has a very interesting topic that he's going to talk to us today about. So, Mr. Sagar, welcome to Acharya 2022. It's a pleasure to have you here, and the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, Vaidi, for that powerful introduction. I hope everyone is ready for me. Before I start, I would like to ask two simple questions to all of you, my dear friends. First question is, would you like to have more clarity in your life? If you would like to have more clarity in your life, please type me into the chat box. Can you type me into the chat box if you want to have more clarity in your life, my dear friends? Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Ritvika, Swati, Bhuvana, Darshini, Akshara. Thank you. Wonderful. Next question. Would you like to convert your barriers into your stepping stones to success? If you want to do that, please type me again into the chat box. If you want to convert your barriers into stepping stones of success. Wonderful, wonderful. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Great. Before I get into the topic, let me start off by telling you a very small story. This story, my dear friends, dates back a long, long time ago. In a faraway village, in a small cave, there was one small saint. And this saint had very powerful thoughts. And he used to preach a lot, and a lot of people used to come to him for help and everything. In the same village, there were two boys named Chotu and Motu. These two boys decided that they wanted to test the saint to see how much knowledge he has and if he's really a person who has a lot of knowledge. So, what they decide is that they decide to take one butterfly from a forest and they decide to hold that butterfly in their hand. They thought, we'll go to the saint and we'll ask him, my dear saint, what is there in my hand? And imagine if the saint said, Chotu, I think you have a butterfly in your hand. Then these guys decided that we'll ask him the next question. All right, you're right, we have a butterfly in my hand, but can you tell me if this butterfly is dead or alive? And if the saint says that the butterfly is alive, we'll quickly squish this butterfly and show, no, you are wrong, this butterfly is dead. And if the saint says the butterfly is dead, we will just release the butterfly and show, no, the butterfly was alive. This way, the saint will be fooled. These guys were very excited about this idea. They finally went into a forest. They found one butterfly. Chotu very quickly held it in his hand and they went to the saint quickly. Now, the saint was there sitting calmly. Chotu goes to him and like, my dear saint, what is there in my hand? Can you please tell me? The saint said, Chotu, I think you have a butterfly in your hand. Chotu immediately smiled because he knew what was going to happen. So he said, my dear saint, can you tell me if this butterfly is alive or dead? The saint looked at Chotu, he smiled, and he said, my dear Chotu, the fate of the butterfly, whether the butterfly is alive or dead, is only and only in your own hands. Chotu was shocked. He didn't know what to say. The saint had caught him. My dear friends, just like this story, the destiny of our life is only in our and our hands. Whether we decide to make it alive or whether we decide to put it down to trash, it's completely in our hand. Now, with that story, let's get into our topic today. I know some of you have been here from the morning, and I know it can be taxing to stay in front of a computer listening to so many wonderful guests. And some of you have just joined with me here. Let me tell you one thing. I appreciate every one of you for being here today. And I promise you that the next 30 minutes are going to be worthwhile. Before I start, I want you all to do one thing. Can I see some people come on screen? I want you to see you on video. We're going to do one small quick activity. Can I see more people on video? I want to see some people so that we can do a small activity. Can we have that? Is that okay? All right. If you can't come on video, I understand that. But quickly just raise your hand like this. I assume that you're raising a hand. Okay. Now take your hand like this. Okay. And now do this. Pat yourself on the back because I understand that it took a lot of effort for you, a lot of pain for you to be here to listen to me. So once again, with my folded hands, I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank Waylearn and Akshaya Foundation for having me here today, because it is truly an honor for me to speak to all of you. My dear friends, I'm sure that you may have some questions as I go ahead with my session. But what I would suggest is that maybe you can keep your questions toward the end. And I assure you that I will give you at least 5 minutes to ask your questions, and we will definitely answer as many questions as we can. With that, we're going to start our presentation. First of all, I want to tell you one very important thing. My dear friends, I believe that these mental blocks are inside our mind. But I also believe that most of us, in fact, all of us, are suffering from two diseases today. And you know what those diseases are? They are victimitis and excusitis. We have become the prisoners of our mind. Sometimes we're not able to take our mind off these mental blocks. And the first step to understand how to convert your mental blocks into building blocks is very, very simple. You need to be aware of what these mental blocks are. Can you agree with me, my dear friends? Can I see a quick yes into the chat box if you agree that to change our mental blocks, we need to be aware of what our mental blocks are? Yes. Can I see a quick yes into the chat box? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, wonderful. Now, to make you aware of what your mental blocks could be, I have a quick activity for all of you. What's going to happen next is that I'm going to present a few statements. Now, these statements are something that you might have used in your life, or you might have heard someone use in their life, or you would have at least thought these things. Now, as I go through these statements, I wanted to quickly note down which of these statements you have used in your life. Is that okay, my dear friends? Can we do that? Can we do this quick, small activity? All right. So, the first statement is, the market is not conducive for business. Everyone is making losses, and hence I am too. The second statement is, this challenge is too big for a person of my stature. The third stature is, whenever I sit to study, some of my friends call me and then I get distracted and then I go with them. The fourth statement is, the government's policies are just not right. Everything is going wrong in the world. The fifth statement is, I have never been a people person, so I don't get accepted by other people very well. Sixth statement is, I took all the effort, but still my luck is so bad that something or the other keeps going wrong. Number seven is, other people have always told me that I can't do something. They must be right. Eighth statement is, I lost that person who was really close to me. Now I'm not going to let anyone come close to me. The ninth statement is, I did begin this project, but then a big problem hit me and now I'm not going to do it again because I don't have the courage to do it. The last statement is, whenever I've tried to do something like this, I've always failed. So I'm not going to do it. My question to you, my dear friends, is, which of these statements have you used in your own life? Ritvika says number 8. If you have used any of these statements, quickly type into the chat box the statement number that you have used. First statement and last. Okay, wonderful. Number 3, wonderful. Number 5, wonderful. Number 8, again, wonderful. What more? Come on, quickly. Let's move ahead. Number 3, wonderful. Yes. Number 5, number 6, number 4, number 5, number 4. Wonderful. So you all agree with me that somewhere in your life, these statements have been used. You agree with me that these are mental blocks that have stopped you from doing what you wanted to do? Yes? Correct. Now, let me first help you understand what these mental blocks could be. I believe that the mental blocks could be of 3 different types. All right. The first block, which we always have, is due to our circumstances. Now, if you look at the first 4 statements mentioned here, these are the statements that we use when we fall to our circumstances, when we fall prey to our circumstances that are around us. We can't control the government. We can't control if our friends call us. We can't control if the challenge is too big. Correct? The next 3 statements, 5, 6, and 7, are in the mental block of self-defeating beliefs. We might have done something, but we feel like we can't do it. We feel that, we've taken an effort, but it doesn't work for us. These are all the self-defeating beliefs that are there inside our mind. And the last three statements are the statements that hit us when we are stuck in our past. You know, when we are stuck in our past, when something bad has happened to us earlier, we start thinking that this is the same thing that will happen to us again. And hence we refrain from going ahead with that risk or that step or how we want to move forward in our life. Do you understand these three blocks, my dear friends? Your circumstances, your self defeating beliefs, and your past. Can I have a quick yes into the chat box if you understood all these three? Yes? Wonderful. Now, first step is awareness. We have that. We've understood that these are the statements that we use. These are the mental blocks that we have. Correct? Now, what happens when we have these mental blocks? What happens is that we fall victim to them. We start thinking that my life is good. I tried my best. I am doing well. But all these problems are there in my life. And that's why I'm not able to do what I want to do. And that is exactly what we call as victimitis. When we start believing that we are the victim of our own problems, that we are the victim of our circumstances, our self-defeating beliefs, and our past. But today, I want to ask you to come to one simple realization. And this is a very powerful realization. And I want you to repeat this after me. You are not your circumstances, you are not your self-defeating beliefs, and you are not your past. All of these three things are just something that happened to you. Understand one thing. All of these three things are something that just happened to you. It's not who you are. It's not a part of who you are. It's not what you are. It's what you think has happened to you. It's what you think has happened to you, my dear friends. So it's important to realize that you are not your circumstances, self-defeating beliefs, and your past. Now, once you come to this realization, now all of you are aware that there are mental blocks that you have in your life, and that this realization is there for you. Yes, can I have a quick thumbs up or a quick yes into the chat box? Yes. Okay, wonderful. I'm so happy to see you all here with me, and I'm so happy for all the participation that is happening. Now, let's go to the next step. We've understood that there are mental blocks. We've realized how these mental blocks affect us. We're going to go into the next step that will help us to move out of these blocks. My dear friends, once we understand these blocks, there is one more thing that becomes a problem. There are people around us who will come and tell us, oh, these are blocks, that's okay. You can just ignore them. It's all in your mind. Forget about your problems. They'll come and say, if you want to achieve something, just go ahead and achieve it. There is nothing else you should look at. Some people will come and say, don't focus on problems, focus on goals. Some people will come and say, there are no problems at all. You are completely fine. Just buck up. My dear friends, I'm sorry to break this to you, but all these things are not right. If you really, really want to clear these mental blocks, to understand and move past these mental blocks, there are only two ways you can do that. Only two ways you can do that. The first way is you change your narrative with your effort. And the second way is you accept, and that you learn to accept the things for what they are. Remember, my dear friends, the more time you spend on things that you can control, the more likely it is that you achieve what you want. The problem is that we always start thinking that because the things that are not in our control, they derail our plans, and that is why you're not able to grow. We constantly complain about things that are not in our control, and we feel that that is how it is. I can't do anything about it. But my dear friends, when you are completely understanding that acceptance is the first step, that your efforts will always make you powerful over your circumstances, you will understand that you can move forward. Now, I can tell you one thing. This kind of clarity and focus is not easy. Trust me, it is not easy at all. Okay? But if you sincerely practice it, things will change. And with this, I want to share with you one of the most powerful quotes that I've ever heard in my life. Always in life, always wish that you get the strength to accept the things that you cannot change, the courage to change the things that you can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I'm repeating it. In your life, always wish that you get the strength to accept the things that you cannot change, the courage to change the things that you can, and the wisdom to know the difference. If only and only you can accept it, that there are some things that you cannot have control over, you can move on. If only and only you take the courage to change the things that you really, really want to, can you do it? And sometimes it's also important to understand the difference between these two. We start pushing to do things that we don't even want to do. Sometimes we can't even have control over. Sometimes it's difficult for us to accept them. And when you change that thought, powerful things happen, my dear friends. If you believe that this was a powerful quote, I want you to type PQ in the chat box. Powerful quote, PQ into the chat box. If you feel that there was a powerful quote that you heard today. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Swati. Thank you, Ritvika. Thank you, Divya. Thank you, Bhuvana. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, we've understood that first step to changing your mental blocks is to become aware and realize. The second step is to understand that you can only change the narrative or you can accept things as they are. And now we're going to go into the third step. And this is my favorite step, my dear friends. But before I go into that, I'm sure you have one question in your mind. You're asking me, Sagar, you said that your past, your circumstances, and your self defeating beliefs are the problems, are the blocks that you have. But what about luck? What about destiny? Sometimes, I try to do a lot of things in my life, but my luck is not favoring me. What about that? I'm sure you all are thinking the same thing. And we're going to talk about exactly that: luck versus efforts. Remember, my dear friends, events that you cannot control will always exist in your life. I repeat this over and over again because this thought will come into your mind over and over again. Your mind will always keep telling you, oh, I did this, but my luck didn't favor me. Because I've already given you reasons not to blame your past, not to blame your circumstances, not to blame your self-defeating beliefs. So your mind will start looking for things that it can blame. And usually the answer is destiny or luck. But can I tell you one thing, my dear friends? Your destiny will always make things difficult for you. Because if it doesn't, how will you learn to turn out? How will you learn to become that person that you are meant to be? Can you all agree with me that the person that you are today is because of all the problems that you faced in your life, because of the problems you overcame in your life? Can you agree with me, my dear friends, that if today you think you can achieve some things, it's because you've already had that experience of doing something that you've done before, and through that you're able to move forward? Yes? Can you please give me a yes in the chat box if you believe that that's right? Yes? So every single situation that destiny puts forth in front of you is simply because you can learn a lesson from it, so that you can learn from it and you can say, you know what, this has happened to me, that's all right, I've learned from it and I'm going to move on. I strongly believe this, my dear friends, that your efforts can definitely change your destiny. And the more you evolve as a human being, the better things will start to become, not because your luck is on your side, not because your luck gets better. It is because you will get used to the curveballs that the destiny throws at you. Destiny will constantly test you, push you, and make you do things that you don't want to do. But then when you continuously put that effort, you will overcome that barrier of that luck, that destiny that you keep always blaming, because your efforts will be the biggest tool you will have that will help you shape your future. Now, was that powerful, my dear friends? Do you understand when I say that efforts will always and always trump your destiny? Yes. Can I see a quick thumbs up? Can I see a yes? Can I see yes? Wonderful. Wonderful. So I understand that we always tend to say that, Rayar, I wanted to do this, but luck is never on my side. Something always keeps going wrong. But my dear friends, when we actually look past that, when we look to take efforts, trust me, you will see a different you. You'll see a different person who can change the narrative. And now we are going to move to the last step of converting your mental blocks into building blocks. And this is the most important step, my dear friends. Okay, remember this step because it's going to help you a lot in life. Don't suffer from excusitis. Before I tell you how you can not suffer from excusitis, let me tell you what excusitis actually is. Can you all agree with me, my dear friends, that most of our life has been ruled by our subconscious mind and the thoughts that we generate? Can you agree with me that most of the times our thoughts and our mind is ruling our life? Can you agree with me? Yes, agree? Yes, wonderful, wonderful. Now, the threat actually starts, when we are not able to control these thoughts. Then slowly the threat evolves when it becomes a self-serving justification. We start justifying ourselves that, all this drama in our life, it's not happening because of us, it is happening because of something else itself. When we tend to let ourselves down, every single time we'll keep saying that, I didn't do anything wrong. I did everything perfectly well. Just that destiny didn't help me. Just that this didn't happen. Just that that didn't happen. You know what, my dear friends? The hardest thing for anyone to do is to be truthful to themselves. Because you know why? You can always lie to people because they don't care if you say the lie or the truth. They're anyways going to think about you from their own perspective. Correct? Whenever you say something to someone, they're always going to look at what they want to hear, not what you want to say. Can you agree with me? But when you talk to yourself, when you speak about yourself, when you start giving excuses to yourself, you'll understand it's so easy. It's so easy to fool ourselves because we think we can never commit a blunder. And even when we do, we have a perfectly plausible explanation for it. We have so many justifications ready. Oh, this happened. Oh, that happened. And this illness is what I call, my dear friends, excusitis. Because the one thing that is very easy to give, there are two things that in life we can give very easily. Number one is opinion. We always have our opinions ready. And number two is excuses. Simple. You didn't go to the gym, you'll say the alarm didn't go off. You want to eat a dessert despite being on a diet? Oh, once in a while, it's all right. Yeah. You want to, not go for walking tomorrow? It's okay. I'm fine. One day, if I don't go for walking, nothing will happen. You didn't finish a project on time, you'll say, it's okay. The projects and all will keep coming and going. What's important is that I enjoy my life, I live my life. Yes, my dear friends, we tend to do this. We tend to give excuses to yourself. Can you agree with me? Can I see a yes in the chat box if you believe that, yes, we do tend to give excuses to ourselves in our life? And it's very easy also to do it because we are only talking to ourselves. No one is going to judge us. We are not going to judge ourselves for what we are. So that brings me to my next point, my dear friends. And this is very, very important. And I want you all to remember this very, very powerfully. The truth in life always hurts. And most of the time, someone else telling you the truth will not cut it. You need to tell yourself the truth. Remember this. We try to think that we are always truthful to ourselves, but for once, just look at yourself and decide. When you decide to do something, are you giving yourself the truth or are you giving yourself excuses? And the day that you actually start becoming truthful to yourself, you start understanding that you were just trying to escape from that thought that you wanted to do, or escape from that mission that you wanted to achieve, or that goal you wanted to do, or the purpose that you were built for. Right? Now, we're going to finish now with a quick 2-minute conclusion. I want to tell you one very, very important point. When I say that you give a lot of excuses for your behavior, I don't mean that you can achieve anything you want if you don't provide excuses. Please understand this. There are some people who will say this to you, but please don't listen to them. Okay, they will say that anything in your life is possible. You can change the world upside down. You can believe in everything. You can change the whole world itself. They will say all of these things to you. But I want you to remember that it is important that you ground yourself to the reality of your life and your core strengths. It's important that you realize who you are as a person, because being aware, being realistic is as important as having faith in your own abilities. You need to understand and you need to constantly assess yourself if you can actually do something, rather than just saying that, no, I want to do it, so I will do it. That's absolutely not the right way to go. You can't expect a 10-year-old to break Usain Bolt's 100-meter record. You think you can do that? You think it's like expecting a horse to give birth to a unicorn just because it says that, no, no, I will do it. That's not quite possible, my dear friends. We have to remember this, that we have to also accept the ground reality of life. But at the same time, and I want you to look at this next quote very powerfully. You can be reasonable with the challenges that you wish to solve. There's nothing wrong in that. But be unreasonable with your efforts. If today you have a small challenge to solve, if you feel that this is what you want to do today, do it. Don't question your thoughts, all of that. Take that effort. If you are going to be reasonable with the challenges that you want to solve, you will be able to change your thoughts. And my dear friends, when you are unreasonable with yourself, when you really have a challenge to solve and you're unreasonable with yourself, trust me, your mind, your body can do wonders. Just wonders. Okay. Let go of your limiting circumstances. Let go of your disempowering thoughts and let go of your past. Live in the moment. Be what you can be. Do what you can do. And the beauty of life will start to unveil itself in the front of you as a majestic force of power, inspiration, and love. If you want to connect with me, my dear friends, this is my Instagram and LinkedIn profile. There's a QR code also. And if you have any other questions, I'm sure if you do have any questions, please, you can ask them into the chat box, or you can, just unmute yourself. I'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. You're on mute, Vaidi.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, Sagar. That was a very powerful presentation. We have one question on the chat box from Akshara. So she is asking that sometimes our own deep thoughts will never let us overcome these mental blocks. So how to overcome those deep thoughts?
Of course, Akshara, I mean, you're definitely right in asking that question. And trust me, there are a lot of exercises that are there that will help you understand your own thoughts. And trust me, it's never easy. I'm not saying that you can do it like that. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of mental resilience to overcome these thoughts. All right, but how you do it is important. First step is always to create positive experiences in your life. When you start creating positive experiences in your life, when you start understanding that whenever something goes wrong, there is always a silver lining to it, you'll be able to see how to change your thoughts in that direction. This is just one way to do it. There are a lot of other ways, which obviously I can't explore right now. But these are the ways that you can cultivate. These are things that I help people with. And I'm sure that, when you get connected to me, I'll help you more with that. All right. Any other questions?
I think those are the questions. I think
Someone had raised a hand. I think.
Yeah, let me just check. I don't see any raised hands now.
There
So
was one
okay,
hand raised.
there's one question here from Samyukta. How
Yeah.
to overcome overthinking?
You know you're overthinking, Samyuta. If you're saying that that you're you want to overcome overthinking, first step is you're overthinking. So you've already crossed that first step where you have an awareness that you're overthinking. The next step is very simple. Just don't do it. as simple as that sounds, I'm just kidding here. Like I said, when you are trying to control your thoughts, it's important to remember that you can only do it when you are constantly aware of what you want to do. So the first step is always awareness, and you are already there. Now, start looking at things that are stopping you, start looking at things that are not helping you, when you're overthinking, and try to remove those thoughts from your head one by one. Once again, create positive thoughts, create positive experiences. And when you do that one by one, you will see that you will come out of this trap of overthinking. It's not easy. I'm being very open and frank with you. As in, when you practice the fact that only you can control your thoughts, only you can control how you relate with the surroundings around you, you'll realize that you can get better as in time goes. All right.
That
Thank
was
you so much.
really very wonderful, Sagar. I think first time I'm hearing your speech. It was very dynamic, captivating, and power packed altogether.
Thank
And
you
the
very much.
energy level you carried on, right from the beginning till the end, you never wavered bit. Even that was something amazing. And the way, like you presented your speech, awareness and realization, step by step, problem and solution, how to handle themselves. I definitely feel all the students really would have received much more knowledge from you today, and they apply it in day-to-day lives and reach great heights. It was really wonderful to have you here in Acharya 2022.
Thank
A
you.
great meeting you, Sagar.
There is one more question on the chat box. Can I address it if that's okay with you?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Please.
All right. So Shivaranjani has asked, sir, if we are ready to break the block, but people discourage us in the situation, what can we do about it? I'm going to give you a tough pill to swallow, Shivaranjani, if that's okay. Understand that there are always going to be people who will stop you from doing what you want to do. There are always going to be a set of people who will discourage you from your ideas, from your thoughts. The only way to you can stop that is actually cut them off. And I'm sorry, but I know it's a difficult thing to say or difficult thing to hear, but I don't think there's any way around it. Trust me, I'm speaking it from my own experiences. I've met such people in my life who didn't want me to grow, who didn't want me to do what I wanted to do. And either I cut them off, or I decided that I'm not going to talk to them about that part of my life which they want to discourage. I understand that you can't completely cut off someone, but then what you can do in that situation is that you don't talk about that particular part of your life, so that they don't have to talk about it, they don't have to hear about it, and they don't have to comment about it. So you're happy in your life, they're happy in their life. But the best way to do is to cut them off. And I'm sorry, but it is a tough pill, but I have to give it to you. All right. Thank you so much. I hope the questions are over. If there's any other question, we can finish it off. Otherwise, I think we're done here.
I think, yeah, so those were the questions, Sagar. So once again, thanks a lot for being part of Acharya 2022. I think that was a very powerful and stimulating session, and it's always a pleasure to hear you. So once again, thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it. Take care.
Yeah, thanks, Sagar.